Because we're always focused on change and we're more poised and ready to adapt and be flexible, I think, because it's so inherent to what our work is, that regardless of your role in this industry, I think you're more readily able mentally to pivot and adjust and think in a flexible way.
How do we make sure we're looking after our employees' entire sort of holistic selves?
The more flexible the space, the more flexible the design, the more flexible thought process goes within the building. I think, yes, definitely that needs to happen now.
We've really got to force thinking for the future, not just the here and now. And hopefully that will give us the answer for different occupiers at different sectors.
The full infrastructure in place to begin with, it sort of allows you that flexibility for future development.
But our stakeholders were focused on those metrics of success and how to give them what they need. And then we have our audience, the everyday viewers, the people who are visitors, the people who really are meant to experience this thing. And that is who we're actually in a deeper investment about.
But it's continuing that process and making sure that you're reevaluating and with the new technologies that come out and the new ways we're working, are those technologies still the best fit?
We need to be able to see and hear each other. As a minimum, we need to be able to share documents, comment on them. But to have, if that collaboration is, the object of that collaboration is some kind of, shared outcome, and ideally some kind of positive shared outcome, then what we need is that psychological safety in the group. That's what Google research for a long time has shown. That's the groups that are most effective, are not the smartest people. They're the groups that have the most psychological safety.
We really, really have to engage with the people that are using the audience, as Andrew said, people that are using the technology day to day.
Lots of businesses are looking to solve the basic video conferencing connection challenge. We're trying to move in how do we make that excellent. So there are lots of offerings available, like microphone improvements and lighting improvements and things like that.
This pandemic is horrible in many ways for a lot of people, but it's also important, I think, to look at the positives that come out of it and look at the things that we value and the things that we're prioritizing. And the fact that by being thrown off center, you are forced to be more present, which means things we've taken for granted, we're able to look at with fresh new eyes. It is essential creatively for us to keep ourselves on our toes and second-guessing ourselves and questioning our own assumptions.
To make those infrastructure changes, I think the AV fraternity needs to maybe shout a little louder, shout out the right people, and it's landlords, developers and large-scale occupiers to get their attention.
From my perspective as an AV team, we've also spent some time making sure that our priorities and our efforts are going into the right things. We have a significant effort going on around sort of return to office, and there are some locations where Googlers have started to return to the office, and so we as part of Google's kind of internal IT department, we need to be ready to serve the business, to give them what they need to do, give them the technology they need to do their work, but manage that alongside. There are locations where that office won't be occupied perhaps until the middle of next year. So now we're looking at projects like that and deciding that now, or maybe Q1 next year, is a great time to invest in those projects and make sure that we're COVID safe doing it, and in locations where maybe the risk curve is kind of on the way down. But to use this opportunity to access those spaces and do those upgrades that kind of align with our strategic vision to serve our customer in the best way that we can.
People in our industry sometimes making things sound more complicated than they need to be to have this air of expertise around ourselves, but it doesn't need to be that complicated. And I think the more we let companies see the benefits of what we do, and the more we share that with large and small companies, the easier it is to communicate about exactly what we do and how we do it.